Wife gets revenge after my cheating scandal. After almost 15 years of marriage, Carrie and I were a typical middle-class couple. My job paid well, so we didn't need anything. I had the solid beginnings of middle age, but it seemed that the bigger they got, the less interested I was in doing anything about it. Carrie was doing a little worse than I was. She had 30 extra pounds on her once sleek and slender body, and the places where they were settling flattered her little. I could see that she realized it herself. She went to bed in shapeless flannel nightgowns that did little to hide the extra weight and, in my opinion, only made it worse. Her manner of dressing during the day changed from the low-cut tops and sexy skirts or tiny tight shorts that used to enthrall me to midriff-bearing dresses, clothes designed to hide her bloated body. I even set up a small workout room. She only worked out in it for a few days, and then got back into a routine. I was able to accomplish less effort. Our sex life dwindled down to a couple of times a month, and one day I realized it had been over a month, and I started to get frustrated. So I started going to different massage therapists. I went around to probably a dozen, making the usual hints of more than just a massage, until I found one who was a little more forthcoming than some. Her name was Patty. She was in her early 40s, and she wasn't very pretty, but something about her turned me on nonetheless. She even seemed to enjoy causing arousal and then teasing me before taking and stroking my body. It became my outlet. I justified it by saying that sex was my right, and if Carrie didn't want it, the alternative was fair play. Of course, I kept these activities to myself. There was no need to stir up a potential hornet's nest at home. One day it ended with Patty calling home because she had to cancel an appointment. I wasn't home, and she told Carrie to call and reschedule. I made the mistake of lying to Patty, telling her that my wife was celibate but understanding and knew everything about everything. And then, even stupider, I gave her my home phone number without even thinking she might use it. Lying to her was part of my cunning plan to encourage Patty to care about me, and once I started lying, I had to more or less stick to it. Part of it worked. Shortly after I told Patty this, she gave in and started doing hand jobs for me in our weekly sessions, aided by a nice $50 tip. She even took off her clothes and let me admire her small but beautiful breasts to attract me. It seemed like it was a matter of time before I got her to lay on the table with me. I was working towards this with each session and felt that Patty was getting close to going for it. Everything was going well until the phone rang. Carrie got curious, since I had never once mentioned going for a massage, and she started making inquiries. She somehow found out that Patty was one of those ladies who provided extra services for special clients, and all hell broke loose that night when I got home. It started with, "You're an asshole," which escalated to, "I'm fat and ugly," then to, "You don't love me anymore," followed by tears, some more yelling, and I fell asleep on the couch. I suffered through cold dinners and cold nights for a week. I stayed away from all massage parlors, and I went back to having a solo sex life, which sucks. Then came the next change. My phone rang as I was about to leave work. It was Carrie asking me to stop somewhere and eat. She had a meeting. Still not feeling ready to challenge her, I just grabbed a burger and fries on my way home. She didn't show up until 10:30. I looked up when she walked in and was surprised to find that her hair was still wet. She had obviously just showered. She collapsed on the couch and started rubbing her feet. I looked at the gym bag she'd set on the counter and turned back to her, wondering what the hell was going on. "I go to dance and work out. We meet twice a week," she explained. "Oh, okay," I said, undecided. Well, it certainly wouldn't hurt her, but I was smart enough not to say it. A few weeks later, Carrie did another rearrangement, and by then I was allowed back into the marital bed. I climbed onto my side and went to sleep when she reached out and touched me, pulling me closer. Thinking that maybe she was interested in a little makeup sex, I tried to respond and managed it. Carrie seemed more energetic than usual, and I figured it had been a while. I fondled her breasts as usual, noticing that they had gotten smaller and firmer, and was surprised to find that her belly had tightened and firmed up as well. Somewhere in the back of my mind, as I dozed off, I thought that her twice-weekly workouts were having an effect. Such changes happened slowly, and seeing her every day, I didn't notice anything different. A person's work life can be busy. They think about the next day, thinking about closing things out, getting a check, moving on to the next project, solving the next problem. Every Monday and every Thursday night, I would watch TV until about 10:30, and on the way home, I would grab a burger and fries and a soda. I would sit in my big, padded chair, watch the History Channel or Discovery Channel, and often doze off until Carrie got home. I noticed that she was initiating sex much more often, and I liked it. My sessions with myself slowed down and turned into memories. Life was getting good. It even occurred to me that it might be a good idea to call Patty, but I didn't have the courage yet. Patty even called me once, thankfully on a Monday night while Carrie was at practice and I, the asshole, had forgotten caller ID. Patty wondered how I was doing and asked why I'd stopped coming. Of course, I couldn't tell her that Carrie had caught us and I almost lost my wife over the situation, so I lied and said I was really busy and would call her to make an appointment. Stupid caller ID. I had forgotten about it and realized it when Carrie, back at home, flipped through the list. She looked at me with widened eyes, and I stammered and explained that it was true, but it wasn't taken well. The next few nights were a little cold in the bedroom, but I made sure everything was on time and things calmed down pretty quickly. Carrie's class schedule fell into place, and the nice woman at the hamburger stand even knew my name and smiled broadly when she handed me my food. I always left her $1, so every once in a while I'd get extra servings, like a slice of ham and fries. A few times, if things were slow, we chatted, and I learned her name was Sarah. She made sure I knew she was leaving at 10 p.m., but there was nothing I could do about it since Carrie was coming home at 10:30. I thought about Sarah for a bit. She was pretty, a little soft in appearance, with nice, thick, round breasts, and probably in her 30s. I even fantasized about her during the now rare bathroom sessions, rare because Carrie wanted sex more and more. Then another change happened. One Saturday morning, I went out one day, waking up around 11 a.m. or so. Carrie was nowhere to be seen. I finally found her in the backyard, lying on her stomach on a blanket. She was wearing a bikini I hadn't seen before. I stood up and looked at her. 30 pounds were gone. Only a tiny hint of them remained on her thighs. You could still see dimples of cellulite on the tops of her legs, but not as much, and the muscles of her body were crisp and clear. She just looked really good. Good enough for me to stand there and stretch, feeling the arousal build at the mere sight of her. I decided to join her and went and got my old swim trunks. I hadn't worn them in years. I managed to pull them up over my back, but it took some effort, even though there was elastic sewn into the waist. I pulled them on, stood up, and the waistband instantly flipped up and down from the pressure of my stomach against it. I turned around and took a close look at myself in the mirror. It was almost a shock. My 230-pound body was bulging forward. Where had my trim 180 pounds gone? I took off my suit and looked down. I couldn't even see my lower body because my stomach was in the way. I realized that in front of me was an entire year of burgers, fries, and extra meals that I devoured twice a week. I was still looking at myself in the mirror when Carrie walked in. She instantly caught the look on my face and noticed the swim trunks lying on the bed. She picked them up, looked at them, and then back at me. "I'll buy you a new pair." She turned and left the room. After lunch, I started working out at the gym. All I accomplished in the first few weeks was to make myself sick and miserable. But I realized that I was already miserable, and I do have stubbornness in me. If I start, I refuse to quit, which is partly why I do so well in my sales job. I used to wear myself out until it hurt so much that I just couldn't continue. Then I would rest and do it again. Carrie didn't utter a word. Every Monday and Thursday, I stopped at the hamburger stand, still enjoying short conversations with Sarah. For the first time since I started training, she handed me a bag of food as I approached the window. I took it with a smile, but ordered a salad as well, just with vinegar and oil. When I got home, I threw the burger and fries in the trash. Sarah was smart. The next time she waited for me, I ordered just the salad and tea. She smiled at me. "Do it, big boy," holding out a bag to me. I gave her the usual buck, and after that my salads became even tastier. I realized she had to shop to garnish them with grated carrots, little yellow tomatoes, and things like that. I think she realized it too. How was it possible not to notice? I was becoming monstrous. But I started to show progress, getting back to 225 and holding them. A few weeks later, I was dozing in my chair after a Thursday night workout at home, TV off. I woke up, glanced at the clock, midnight. Carrie was gone. I even checked the house. She usually woke me up when she came over. No sign of her. I was getting worried when I heard her car in the driveway. "Sorry I'm late," she said as she entered the house. I noticed she looked shiny, like she had some kind of oil on her. "What is it?" "Oh, I pulled a muscle, so I got a massage at the studio." "A massage?" "Yeah, from one of the girls, Katie." She disappeared into the bedroom, and I heard the shower running soon after. I walked in and slid into bed and waited. Carrie came out, climbing in beside me. "I weigh 220 pounds now." "That's great, honey." And she fell asleep. I lay there for another long time, thinking. I realized that I had never been to any of her classes and had no idea who was doing the classes there. None at all. Carrie had also never talked about them, which suddenly struck me as odd. Now I had my suspicions. Carrie stayed up until 11 o'clock, but she never stayed up until midnight. I tried to remember and realized that for the past 3 months she had come home and gone straight to the shower. I remembered that at first she would come home with wet hair after showering at the studio. Yes, now I had my suspicions. That's evil too. I take up residence in a person's mind. All sorts of scenarios arise. There is no evidence to confirm or deny, and it eats away at the mind. That's what happened to me. So I got smart and started spying. I drove past the studio. It was only 4 blocks from the little hamburger joint I had stopped at. All I could see was a doorway, and the space itself had to be upstairs on the 2nd floor. I checked the likely route to my house, less than 2 miles. An idea popped into my head. I knew that Carrie's classes started at 6 to 10 p.m. The following Monday, I parked out of sight at 5 o'clock. At about 5:30, a car pulled up and a tall man got out. He was wearing tight athletic shorts and a tank top. He was dark-haired, muscular. His passenger was a slightly smaller man, also muscular and swarthy-skinned, possibly from East India or Italian. Soon, women of all sizes and shapes began to arrive. Then Carrie pulled up, jumped out of the car, and reached for her gym bag. I almost dropped my tea, which I sipped. She was wearing a tight, flesh-colored dance costume. It fit her snugly. No leggings, just 2 straps over her shoulders. From the distance I was watching her from, she looked almost naked, and I could make out her braless breasts as she turned and walked inside. I had never seen this outfit before. Carrie always dressed up when she came home. Now I had a strong suspicion. I stopped at the burger stand, grabbing a salad. I was about to turn away, but then I stopped and turned around. "Sarah, do you know anything about the dance studio on this street?" "Sure, I go there on Tuesdays. It's my day off." She put emphasis on the word day off and looked at me expectantly. I didn't miss the question. "And what's it like there?" "Oh, it's all women, but it's run by 2 guys, Ramon and Sal." "And what's it like?" "Oh, we dance to music, do sports, some gymnastics." "And that's it?" "Pretty much. Only Ramon and Sal have another massage parlor in the back. They're pretty good too." She grinned. "But that's for women only." "Thanks." I headed home. I was back at my shelter by 10 p.m., a pack of water on the seat next to me. The women started coming out around 9:30, which I thought was odd, and Carrie came out about an hour later. She was fully dressed. There was a tall man with her. I watched as she turned around, and he put his arm around her and kissed her. In my opinion, it was not a friendly goodnight kiss. I started the car and drove down the back street as fast as I could. I parked the car, ran inside, put some water on the table, and grabbed one. I was just getting to my chair when I heard Carrie pull up. Where were you?" were the first words she said as she entered the house. I knew she'd noticed the sounds of the car cooling off when she got home. Told you I was smart. "Yeah, I ran to get some water." "We have water in the kitchen." "You do?" I took a sip, showing my best, completely innocent expression. Carrie looked at me cheerfully and headed for the shower. "For a massage?" I called out to her. "Yeah, just a short one." "Katie." My leg was a little sore." She closed the door. "Katie, right?" I pretty much already knew, but I had to be sure. I watched Carrie as she went to bed, her night clothes now much more like the ones we had just gotten married in. She looked good in the nightlight as she crossed the room. At the sight of her, I began to get aroused. I think my own workouts influenced this as well. I got down to just under 200 pounds, but then a funny thing happened. I started gaining weight, got back to 210 pounds, and my big belly basically disappeared. I even tried on my old swim trunks rescued from the dumpster and hidden by me. They fit. But I had a suspicion that one of these instructors might be having sex with my wife, so I grabbed Carrie and, laying her on her back, began to make love to her in a way I hadn't done in years. She responded as well. It was like I was trying to punish her, but she was loving it. "Wow," was all she said afterwards. Thursday came, and I went in to get myself a salad. I asked Sarah if she knew anyone who was in school on Monday or Thursday. She had a funny look on her face and asked why. "My wife takes those classes." "Oh, you're married," she said disappointedly. "Yes, and I have a feeling—" I fell silent, unable to just say how I felt. Sarah looked at me, understanding. "Oh, I see you're thinking. Hey, I could switch shifts and maybe find out." "Would you be able to? I mean, maybe it's no big deal, it's just—" "Sure, they have 4 classes a week. I can go any night. It's all paid for." "That would be great. I'll make sure you don't regret it." "I'll see to it, big boy," she smirked. I turned to leave, and then she called out. "Hey, Dan." I looked back. "You're turning into a real hottie." I swear she licked her lips. I glowed all the way home. On Monday, I stopped at a burger stand and was greeted by a young African man of small stature. I ordered a salad and tea, knowing I would miss Sarah's version of salad when I got home. I spent the next day and Wednesday trying to make the clock go faster. Finally, I found myself at the burger place with the same young man sitting behind the counter. I asked him where Sarah was, and he said they had switched shifts for the week and she needed something to do. The weekend was a living hell. I practically beat myself to a pulp at the gym. On Monday, my phone rang at work. It was Sarah, which surprised me. "Let's meet tonight," she said. "I have the day off again tonight." "Okay, how did you get my office number?" "Oh, easy, it's in the files at the dance studio." "Okay." So I set myself up as a little private investigator. Sarah and I met at a coffee shop across town, and I sat and waited for her to come into the room. She looked very attractive. Cute little top, one of those almost too tiny skirts that tie at the side, matching shoes. Her hair cascaded down over her shoulders. I always saw it up and under the stupid cap that management made their employees wear at the burger place. She sat down across from me and smiled, knowing full well that I liked the way she looked. I was wearing one of my sleeveless shirts. I'd started wearing them to show off the new bulges on my arms. "I think it's Ramon," she started right away. "What did you find out?" "Ramon's been teaching a class on Mondays. He pays a lot of attention to Carrie, but nothing much during class. After that, they went to the massage parlor. That was early, too. Sal came out and led the class from about 8:30. That's it? Well, I waited outside. They came out just after 10. Everyone but Sal had already left. Ramon kissed her, and she left. Yes, I saw it myself. Then on Thursday, Sal was leading class. Ramon was in the back. Carrie came back around 8 and never came out again. I nodded. That pretty much confirmed my thoughts. Sarah leaned forward and took my hand. My house is only a mile from here. Her invitation was obvious. We had time. Sarah was unclothed within 60 seconds of her apartment door closing. I kept up. Her body was in great shape, only a few extra pounds, but muscular. I took my time, making sure she was okay with it. Then I laid her back on the bed, and we made love. Sarah was the only woman I knew who couldn't be seduced. She loved me and made sure I knew it. I didn't feel the slightest bit guilty having sex with her. Then I let her go, feeling us fused together and covered in droplets of sweat. Later, we lay in our arms and she caressed my body. "So what are you going to do?" she asked. "I don't know, I just don't know yet." "Well, you can come to me any time." I burst into laughter. That was a great piece of woman. I glanced at the clock. It was 10 o'clock. I hurriedly got dressed, kissed Sarah, and headed home. I didn't need to hurry. Carrie got home just after midnight. I even had time for a quick wash to cover up any evidence. She glistened with oil, mumbled a greeting, and hurried into the shower. Later, in bed, she reached for me, but her efforts failed. I really was almost spent. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing, just tired." She gave up and we fell asleep. I managed to keep my mouth shut until the weekend. I was sitting in a chair sipping tea when Carrie looked over to me, still in her bedclothes. "Your classes have really helped you." "Yeah." She almost posed for me. I had to admit that she did look good. Her body looked the same now as it had 16 years ago, on our wedding night. Yes, our wedding night was our first. I know that sounds strange in today's world, but it was true. She came out of the bathroom wearing a thin pink wrap, nothing else. I lay on the bed in anticipation. I remembered what she looked like. Perfect, vulnerable, nervous, beautiful, all in one. Our first union had been hurried and impatient. The second more calm, relaxed. The third an attempt by each of us to pleasure the other. The fourth came in the morning, just after we woke up. The slow and cautious lovemaking that is characteristic of newly married people. All of this ran through my mind as I sat up and watched her standing and showing me herself, proud again. She came over and put her arms around my knees. "Dan, you look really good too." I knew that, yes, I was finally getting my body back in shape. But that wasn't what I was thinking about at the moment. "So who's in your class?" I asked. "Oh, nothing, just a few other women." "Yeah, but who?" Carrie named half a dozen names I didn't know, leaving out the ones I was waiting to hear. She even mentioned the new girl, Sarah. "What about Katie?" "Katie? Oh yeah, Katie." The expression on her face became indecisive. "Why do you ask?" I knew there was no one in her class named Kathy. "What about Sal?" I felt her tense up. "Sal is just one of the instructors." "Oh, and Ramon?" She tensed again. "Ramon. Ramon. He's the other instructor." She jumped off my lap and headed for the kitchen. "Isn't he also a masseur?" I called out to her. Carrie kept walking. I got up and followed her. She was sitting at the kitchen table with a pained expression on her face. I sat down and waited. We sat like that for a full 10 minutes without saying a word. I just waited. "It was that Sarah, wasn't it?" "Yeah." I thought she was asking a lot of questions and seemed to be watching me. Carrie's chin was now resting on her hands. She looked like a puppy that had been caught for peeing on the floor. "So what do you want to know?" She looked up at me, gathering her courage. "Everything. Are you having sex with him?" "Yeah, no, not really. Yeah, It just happened. What happened? I hurt my leg. Really? He's a masseur and I asked him to massage it. It was shortly after you know. Her mind flashed back to when she'd found out about Patty. It was already 2 years ago. But I stopped it. I realized she was trying to turn the conversation to me. Yeah, but you let him. Well, that's all it was. I went on the defensive. Well, that's all it is to me, too. Carrie jumped up and ran out into the living room. I followed her. So what did you let him do? I demanded. Carrie sat down on the couch and I could see she was gathering her thoughts. I sat down and waited, leaning toward her. He asked me if I wanted to try a full-body massage. She didn't look at me. I let him. You mean naked? Yes. Her chin dropped to her hands again. All the way through? Yes. And that's it? No, I did it in return. She burst into tears. I suppose you let him? Yes. I leaned back, taking a breath. Did he have sex with you? No, he wanted to, but I said no. Okay, was that it? No. Tears again. What else? Sal, too. So basically, you let those two assholes play with your body, am I right? Carrie looked at me, tears streaming down her cheeks. Are you going to leave me? It was a whimper. She was beaten. I sat there for a long time pretending to think, but really my mind was blank. Number, I love you. Let's work things out. Be honest with each other. Carrie jumped up and hugged me. Dan, I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. She left for the kitchen, and I heard her start to bustle around making breakfast. I was very proud of myself. I had everything under control. I was just reaching for the TV remote when I heard her call out from the kitchen. So, Dan, now tell me, how long have you been cheating on me with Sarah? Oh, no. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.